All right, we are now going to do the greeting card. And the greeting card is going to start, and even though that says something P, that's because it's pica, and you should have changed this so it's in inches, so it's an 8.5 by 11, and make sure that you have it as portrait. All right, and I'm going to close, well, we'll start all the way from fresh. All right, so I've got my piece of paper. And what you want to remember is that on layout, we want to create guides. And so we want 2 rows and 2 columns. And so that gives us, the gutter is simply the space in between, and it just helps us get everything set up. So there we go. All right, now that's how you get to this point. And you supposedly folded a piece of paper and then looked at it, and I'm going to come back and I have mine set up, and when I folded my piece of paper and then unfolded it, the bottom right is going to be where the front is, and that's where I'm going to put the balloons. The logo is the back, and then these are the 2 inside pages, and notice that they're upside down, so I'm going to have to work at rotating stuff. So, all right, so the first thing I need to do is get rid of, I'm going to get rid of all of these and rebuild them. I just need to remember where things go. All right, so we want to get the rectangular frame, and it all depends on how you want to do this. I'm going to actually put 2 here on the front, one for the balloons and one for maybe some quick salutation. Back here is going to be my logo, and remember, we can change the size of these boxes at a later date. And I'm going to put 2 of these guys in for the 2 greetings. All right. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do save as. You would do originally a save. Now notice I have a greeting card folder, and I made that before I started. I have a balloons AI, that's my Illustrator balloons image that I'm going to use. And you know, I've been having fun with this, so I'm just going to call this, I had a birthday card, I'll call that birthday card 2. So I need one other thing. I'm going to take an Excel spreadsheet, and I'm going to, whoops, maybe I'm going to, no I'm not, I'm going to do it here. There we go. I'm going to do something like that. And now I'm going to do, and that can go on the front. Now that means that I need to all right, and so now I have my 2, and I can add, you know, I could add another one. Now where is this going to go? It's going to go into the greeting card folder, and this is going to be called text. All right, and so I'm going to use 1A only, or A1 and B1, and if I wanted a third, then I could use C, but that's okay. So we're going to save that. All right, so now I have all of my pieces put together. So I want to place the balloons here. I'm going to put the 1A text here, and if I remember correctly, this is where the main greeting goes, because if you think about folding that under and then in half, this will be what you see when you open this up. Let's see, yeah, that'll be what you see when you open this up. So we'll place things in that. So first of all, I want to select this for placing the balloons. So I want to go File, place, and I'm going to leave that as an Illustrator file. This is one of the nice things about the Adobe Suite is all of the programs play well together. So I can open that. Now, oops, that doesn't look good, so I need to go to Object, Fit, and I'm going to fit the content proportionally. And so there I have my happy birthday balloons. Now, I can change this a bit by making this larger and going back and fit proportionally, and it makes it a little bit bigger. Now, if I want to rearrange where the balloons are, when I get this center part, if I click on that and drag it, then I can move the balloons around on how they show up on the page. And the frame stays where it is. All that I'm doing is moving the balloons themselves. Now, the other thing is, if you watch, if I do this correctly, now that means that the balloons, the image is pretty much aligned up. So that's good. All right. So now I've got the balloons done, and I probably should save this at this point. And now I want to put in place, and on a Mac, I want to make sure that the import options are showing. On the PC, it shows up automatically. So I'm going to open that, and this is going to be simply A1 to A1, and there it is. It jumps right in there. Now that doesn't look particularly good, but what I can do is get the text tool and now let's get that a little larger. We're going to do 30. Now we're going to have to mess with this a bit. All right, what's going on? Well, it looks like I need to pull that down. And I want to center this. Now the other thing is I really don't like that. On the Mac, there's a really nice font called Felt Marker, and that gives you, a little bit of a somewhat more interesting font. Now, notice it goes happy birthday and oops. So I think I'm going to need a low. Let's go Z. All right, now I'm going to need to make that larger. And I use the selection tool to increase the size of the frame. And then I'll use the text tool to increase this area. And notice that I didn't get all of it, so I'm going to take that out. So all I really want is wishing you a very happy birthday. So that means that this, there, that looks better. There. Okay, and obviously I played around with that a lot more than I needed to. All right, let's go back and look at, all right, so B1 has got more text in it, so that's really what I want. So we're going to close that down, and we will, whoops, well, I'm in Excel, so no wonder it's not showing up. I want to place, and the option should be the same because I haven't changed which document or which programs I'm using. So now I'm going to have B1 and B1. And let's see if we can drag this down and drag this in. And that does a very nice job. Again, I want this to be larger. So we will come up to, say, 24 and square it up. Now, you can decide, do you want it to look differently than that? If I bring my frame up, I can then move that so that it's somewhat more centered. So now we've got our balloons, our wishes on the outside, one greeting on the inside. Now, you probably ought to figure out some way to get a logo. You could use Illustrator to do that, or go out on the web and snatch something, and then figure out some other nice saying to go in here. Now, the only thing we have not done at this point is put a background color. So I want the layers window. All right, and notice that I've got everything on one layer at this point. So I want to add a new layer. And I want the background to be underneath. And I'm going to lock this, and I'm going to make it invisible. And that way I don't have to worry about it. Now, I want a rectangle. All right, having chosen the rectangle tool, I now need to get to the color swatches. So I'm going to go to the color and then down to swatches, or F5 if you feel like it. So let's pick a, we'll use red as a background, what the heck. And I'm going to make the whole card red, and then I'm going to not obviously, at least hopefully obviously, not make it quite that glaring. Bring it back to about 50%. Not quite 50%, but. All right, so now I have a background color. Whoops. And I now want my layers window back again, and I will bring that back, and I will lock the background. So there we go. If you don't like that, you can do something else. You know, any color you want to is fine. I don't really care. As the only thing I care about is that I can read the text. All right, so there's a lot you can fool around with, and I'll have to edit the heck out of some of this stuff. But you've got your balloons, and you can place the balloons. You have a tutorial. There was a YouTube tutorial for that, and all that text. All right, good enough.